The night my wife told me to get out of her face. I wasn't yelling. I wasn't accusing. I wasn't even angry. I was standing in our kitchen, holding a grocery receipt I didn't recognize, listening to the hum of a refrigerator that suddenly felt louder than my thoughts, and watching the woman I married look at me like I was an inconvenience she'd finally decided to name. Not with rage, not with emotion, but with calm. And that calm told me everything. Before we go any further, if stories about real marriages, quiet betrayals, and late-in-life wake-up calls hit close to home for you, hit like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments where you're listening from. Because if you've ever been made to feel clingy for caring or foolish for trusting, this story is going to sit with you. Now let me take you back to how this really started. That Wednesday night, she came home late again. I was in the kitchen, receipt still in my hand, when I finally really asked, "Laura, where were you?" She didn't even look up. "Get out of my face, Mark. I'm tired of your clingy behavior." Clingy. The word echoed in my head like it didn't belong there. I stood still. The refrigerator hummed. The clock ticked. I wasn't angry. I was stunned. Because asking your wife where she's been until midnight isn't clingy. It's normal. Or at least, it used to be. I repeated the word quietly. Clingy. That's when she finally looked at me. And what I saw wasn't stress. It wasn't frustration. It was contempt. Clean. Sharp. Undeniable. "Yes," she said with a small laugh. "It's suffocating. I'm a grown woman. I don't need to explain myself to you." That laugh told me more than any confession ever could. My name is Mark. I'm 56 years old. And until recently, I thought I was in a solid adult marriage with my wife, Laura. 6 years together. No screaming matches. No slammed doors. No broken plates. Just quiet. The kind of quiet people mistake for stability. We had routines. Coffee every morning. Dinners most nights. Weekends that blurred together in a comfortable, predictable way. I told myself that was what grown-up love looked like. What I didn't understand yet was that comfort can hide a lot. It started small. So small I almost talked myself out of noticing. Laura began coming home later than usual. Midnight once. Then again. Then 3 times in 1 week. When I asked where she'd been, her answers sounded practiced. Work dinners. Friends I'd never met. Errands that somehow took hours. Her phone never left her hand. If I walked into a room, the screen went dark. If I sat beside her, she shifted away, just enough to remind me I was suddenly in the way. I told myself not to overthink it. That's what good husbands do, right? They trust. They don't interrogate. They don't want to seem clingy. Over the next few days, I watched. Not emotionally. Strategically. I noticed patterns. When she said she was working late, she never brought anything home. No laptop. No files. When she claimed exhaustion, she still stayed glued to her phone past midnight, smiling at messages she never shared. Friday night was the confirmation. She came out of the bedroom wearing a tight black dress. Heels she hadn't worn for me in months. Makeup done with care she hadn't shown in a long time. She walked past the living room without slowing down. "Don't wait up," she said. "I wouldn't dream of it," I replied, eyes still on my laptop. She hesitated. I could feel it. Then her phone buzzed, and she was gone. I could have raised my voice, demanded answers, pushed until the night turned ugly. Instead, something unexpected happened. I smiled. "You're right," I said calmly. "You're a grown woman." She blinked, caught off guard. "And grown women," I continued, reaching for a bottle of water, "deal with grown-up consequences." Her smile vanished. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means," I said evenly, "I'm done being clingy." I met her eyes. "From now on, you get all the space you want." She studied me like she was deciding whether I was bluffing. When I didn't say anything else, she shrugged and went back to her phone. "Good," she muttered. "Maybe we can finally have some peace." Peace. As if I'd been the problem. As if I was the one sneaking around. Coming home late. Treating my spouse like an interruption. What I didn't say out loud that night was this. Sometimes when someone asks for space, they don't realize how much truth fits inside it. And sometimes stepping out of someone's face is the clearest way to finally see them. Why Thursday morning, Laura was lighter. Almost cheerful. She hummed while getting dressed. Checked her phone openly now, no more hiding the screen. It was like my silence reassured her that everything was under control. That I was under control. I didn't ask where she was going. Didn't comment on her outfit. Dressed like it was Friday night, not a work day. Didn't even look up when the door closed. For the first time in weeks, I was invisible, and Laura loved it. What she didn't understand was that silence isn't the same thing as blindness. By Monday evening, I was sitting at the kitchen table, a thick folder in front of me. Phone records, statements, printed screenshots. Facts don't argue. They just exist. Laura froze when she saw it. What's all this? Reading material. She stepped closer. Recognition drained her face. This, I said, meeting her eyes, is what happens when you tell your husband to get out of your face. She tried anger, then tears, then blame. None of it worked. What do you want? She asked quietly. I slid a card across the table. My lawyer. That was the moment reality landed. Saturday morning, she didn't wake up until nearly noon. I was already dressed. Coffee finished. Keys in hand. Where are you going? She asked, rubbing her temples. Out, I said. Out where? I looked at her, really looked. Same dress from the night before. Shoes kicked off carelessly. I'm a grown man, I said calmly. I don't need to report my every move. The look on her face was worth memorizing. Confusion, then discomfort. She didn't like hearing her own words reflected back. That day, I did things I'd been postponing. The bank, a lawyer's office, a few quiet places where nobody knew my name or my situation. I wasn't angry. I was focused. When I came home, Laura was pacing. Where have you been all day? She demanded. I've been calling you. I checked my phone. 12 missed calls. My phone was on silent, I said. I was busy. Busy doing what? I shrugged. Adult things. That wasn't how this was supposed to go. I was meant to stay predictable. Waiting. She left 2 days later. Suitcases by the door. Are you happy now? She asked. Yes, I replied honestly. She wasn't ready for that answer. Weeks passed, then months. Then one day, the grocery store. Produce section. Bright lights. She looked older. Smaller. Mark, she said softly. Laura, do you ever think about us? I nodded. I think about how I spent 6 years building something with someone who threw it away and called me clingy for noticing. She had no response. Because there wasn't one left, but here's what I learned. When someone calls carrying a flaw, when they treat love like an inconvenience, believe them. They're telling you exactly who they are. Laura wanted space. She got it. What she didn't realize was that freedom without respect is just loneliness with better excuses. That if this story hit close to home, if it reminded you of something you lived through or something you're still facing, hit like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments. Who do you think was right in this marriage debate? And I'll see you in the next story.